When we talk about AI in education, we always hear about robot teachers.
Right.
Or like self-grading quizzes.
Yeah.
But you sent us something way more interesting.
Yeah, it's much deeper than that.
Yeah, it digs into how we actually learn.
Yeah.
How we make sense of all this information, which, let's face it, we're drowning in it.
It's overwhelming, the amount of information that's out there.
It is. So this thing you sent, it's called NotebookLM.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be what, like a game changer? Especially for instructional design.
Yeah. Yeah, and what makes it so unique is it's laser focused on instructional design. It's not just another chatbot.
Right.
This is about making sense of information.
Okay.
It's about helping you apply it.
So how does it even work?
So basically, imagine this.
Okay.
You have this research assistant.
Okay.
Right. A really, really smart one.
Uh-huh.
And you can feed it your research papers, articles, even your own messy notes. And instead of just spitting back a summary, it actually breaks down those complex ideas. Like it translates them into something you can actually use.
Okay, so it's not just summarizing.
No.
It's more like it's
digesting.
Yeah, digesting. Making it more digestible.
Exactly.
Which would be huge for instructional designers, right? I mean, they have to take all this dense information and make it understandable.
That's exactly it. They're tasked with making it, accessible, even engaging.
And for all these different kinds of learners.
Right, exactly. And that's where it gets really cool. The article you sent, it talks about how NotebookLM can actually make podcasts, like with AI hosts that sound like us.
But is that even possible?
Oh, it's definitely possible. The tech is there.
Really?
AI can sound incredibly human now, scarily good.
Like you're saying it could take a research paper, maybe on, I don't know, the history of instructional design?
Sure, yeah.
And turn it into a podcast episode with 2 AI hosts.
Exactly. And that's just scratching the surface. Imagine. Personalized audio lessons, podcasts that adjust to how a student learns best.
Okay.
Even audio summaries of textbooks.
So textbooks aren't just these dry things anymore.
Exactly. Much more engaging.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
But hold on, where do actual teachers fit into this picture?
That's the big question, isn't it? We're not trying to replace teachers or get rid of the human part of learning. This is all about making things better.
Okay.
AI should enhance the experience. Give teachers more time to actually teach, to work with students one-on-one,
So instead of AI replacing teachers, it's more like AI is giving teachers superpowers.
That's a great way to put it. It's about empowering them.
And that leads to something else I was thinking about, this idea of personalized learning paths. We've all been in those classes where it's too fast or way too slow.
Oh, tell me about it. It's a struggle.
But imagine if AI could be okay, here's how you learn best. Here's your perfect curriculum.
Exactly. And that's the potential here. NotebookLM can take all this data, your test scores, how you interact online.
Really?
And it can use that to build a learning path that's perfect for you.
Wow. Okay. But how? What kind of data are we talking about here?
It can look at your quiz scores, how you do on assignments,
right?
Even how much time you spend on different topics, the types of questions you're asking. Oh. It's about understanding how you learn best.
That's wild. But come on, this has to come with some challenges.
Right.
Of course. There are always challenges.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll dive into next. We'll look at how AI is actually being used in schools now.
Okay.
And we'll unpack the big questions around data privacy, make sure everyone has access to this tech, the ethical stuff.
Right, of course. Because we can't just throw AI into schools without thinking about the consequences.
Exactly. We have to do this responsibly. So we're talking about NotebookLM, personalizing learning, right?
Okay.
But what does that actually look like, in an actual classroom? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
It's one thing to talk about algorithms. It's another thing to see how it works with real students.
Right. Well, one really promising area is scenario-based learning. Imagine you're learning about history, but instead of just reading about it,
right,
you're dropped into this interactive simulation, an AI-powered simulation.
Okay, now that sounds a lot more interesting than how I learned history.
Right.
So, how would that even work? Give me an example.
Okay, so let's say you're learning about the American Revolution, right?
Okay.
You could be a colonial farmer.
Okay.
And you have to decide if you're going to support the revolution or not.
Yeah.
And the AI would give you all this historical context, so you could really weigh the risks and the benefits.
So it's like they're actually experiencing history, not just reading about it.
Exactly. And because it's AI, it's tracking the progress, seeing what decisions they make. It can adapt,
Okay.
If they're struggling, it can give them extra help or information.
So it's like having a personal tutor built into the experience.
Exactly.
That makes sense. But what about those subjects that are harder to, make interactive? Like, I don't know, learning a new language or some complicated science topic.
Well, that's where AI's ability to break down information comes in.
Right.
Take language learning, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of memorizing vocabulary lists, you could have a conversation
With
an AI tutor.
Okay.
And it can adjust to your level,
Right.
give you feedback on your pronunciation, even create personalized exercises, based on how you're doing.
Yeah, that's light years ahead of those old language tapes. I remember those. So it sounds like AI could make learning more engaging for, everything.
It has the potential, definitely.
But I still keep thinking, where does the teacher fit in all this?
Right. And that's a really important point. Remember, AI is a tool.
Okay.
It's not a replacement for teachers. In fact, AI could take over things like grading or creating personalized practice stuff.
Right. Even
Lesson planning. And that frees up teachers to focus on what's really important. Guiding discussions, giving students that one-on-one support,
Right.
Being mentors, fostering those connections that make learning meaningful. AI can make learning better, but it's teachers who bring the passion, the empathy.
Right. It's about finding that balance.
Mm-hmm.
The best of AI with the irreplaceable human element.
Exactly. And to get that balance right, we need everybody at the table.
Okay.
Educators, tech people, policymakers. We need to make sure this benefits every student, no matter who they are or how they learn.
Which makes me think about access.
Yeah.
Because even the best tech is useless if students can't get it.
That's a huge point.
Or if they don't have the support to, actually use it.
We've got to close that digital divide, make sure everyone has good internet, devices, and just as important, the skills to use them.
It's not just about having the latest gadget.
Right. It's about creating a culture where everybody feels included, empowered to learn and thrive in this tech-driven world. And, speaking of technology, we can't forget about the data itself.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one. Because with AI playing a bigger role in schools, it's natural for people to wonder, hey, what about my data?
Of course. And it's more than just wondering, it's making sure things are done right. Students, parents, teachers, they all need to know what data is being collected, how it's being used, why. Transparency is key.
Yeah, absolutely. We need those strong privacy protections.
Absolutely. And this goes beyond just, checking boxes. We need to develop and use these technologies ethically. That's got to be front and center.
So it's not just about building cool tech, it's about building it responsibly.
Exactly. We have to be thoughtful about this, and that's what we'll keep digging into,
Okay.
The real world challenges, the implications of AI in education.
It's one thing to talk about AI's potential in education,
Yeah.
but we really need to hear from those on the front lines.
I completely agree. We were fortunate enough to connect with a few educators.
Oh, fantastic.
Who are already using tools like NotebookLM
Oh, wow.
in their classrooms.
Okay.
And their perspectives were really eye-opening.
What were some of the things that they really emphasized? What's it actually like to bring this technology into a real classroom setting?
Well, one thing that came up again and again was the need for robust professional development.
That makes...
Teachers need to feel comfortable using these tools, and that requires training,
Right.
ongoing support from their schools.
It's like anything else. You can't just hand somebody, a brand new piece of technology and expect them to be able to integrate it seamlessly into what they're already doing.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just the technical stuff. We're talking about helping teachers see AI as a valuable tool.
Okay.
Not as something that's going to replace them.
Right. So it's almost like a mindset shift.
Absolutely. And we're seeing some really innovative applications
Yeah.
in personalized learning, like teachers using NotebookLM to create these individualized learning journeys for their students,
Okay.
customizing assignments,
Wow.
providing more targeted feedback, even adjusting the pace of lessons to match how each student learns best.
It really is like having a personalized learning assistant.
Yeah.
But that must significantly change how teachers approach lesson planning
Right.
and even just how they assess students.
Oh, absolutely. It's a different approach. Teachers are constantly analyzing data,
Right.
identifying where students might be struggling,
Okay.
and then they adjust their teaching on the fly.
So it's a much more like data-driven way of teaching.
Yes, exactly. And while it definitely requires effort, up front,
Sure.
the educators we spoke with, they said it's worth it.
Yeah.
For them, student engagement, it's way up. Academic performance is improving.
So it sounds like AI has this incredible potential not just to personalize learning, but to actually make teachers even better at what they do.
That's what we're hoping for. That's the dream, right?
Right.
To create learning environments where technology and human connection, they work together.
To help students really thrive.
Yes. To unlock their full potential.
Well said. As we wrap up this deep dive into AI in education, what are some of the key things you want our listeners to remember?
Well, for one, this tech is here to stay. It's not going away.
Right.
And it has the power to completely transform how we think about learning and teaching. But we have to be smart about it.
Good.
Ethical. We need to make sure that everyone benefits, no matter their background, their learning style.
We can't leave anyone behind.
Absolutely not. And this technology should enhance the human side of education, never replace it.
Right. AI should empower, not replace.
Exactly. AI can personalize, it can engage, it can make things more efficient, but it's those amazing teachers with their creativity and their passion who make education truly transformative.
So true. And this is a conversation that we need to keep having, right?
Yeah.
Educators, policymakers, tech experts, students, we all have a role to play in shaping the future of learning.
I completely agree. Keep asking those tough questions, stay curious, and let's build a future where AI helps us all reach our full potential.
Couldn't have said it better myself.